welcome to week 3, module 3 of English composition, college composition. I hope you guys are doing well. The time that you are listening to this video, I will be traveling on the other side of the world, so I wanted to send you a quick video to help you prepare for the next assignment that you're going to complete this week, and that is drafting the body paragraphs of your first paper, your debate essay. So what I want you to do is, if you'd like to follow along, you can find this in Module 3. This is the description for this assignment, drafting the body paragraphs. So let's take a look here. What I want you to do, and it seems counterintuitive, but I want you to begin to practice writing your body paragraphs first before writing an introduction. A lot of students like to sit down and they think they want to start with the very first word of their paper. But often it's easier to begin with your first point that you want to make, and then go back and do the introduction at the end. So you're not going to complete an introduction or a conclusion in this module. You will do that next module in Module 4. So for this assignment, you're going to begin with your body paragraphs. So what I want you to do is pull up the outline that you wrote in Module 2, and I will be getting feedback to you on those as quickly as possible. Some of you may have feedback already, some of you may not. I'll be working to get those done as quickly as I can in the airport and wherever I can, so that you do have that feedback that you can implement. But use your outline, use your rough thesis that you've written so far. And as a reminder, your thesis in a reaction or debate essay needs to include the following. So it should identify the topic. So I've used the example homework there, but include whatever topic yours is. What your research has revealed. So you should identify the two sides of the debate. And then what your argument is. And that's something that you're going to explore further in the last section of the body paragraphs. You can review the outline. The link is here. But essentially, and we've talked about this before, so it shouldn't be news, but your body paragraphs, again, there should be at least 3. And so the first one will go over your arguments for the topic. The second will go over the arguments against the topic. And the last section will be your personal analysis and response. You should have just watched the How to Write a Body Paragraph essay step by step, so I'm not going to labor over that, but you can rewatch that here if you'd like. So what I'd like you to do is to start with a topic sentence in that first section that's going to support the thesis statement, and it should provide outside evidence. So let's look at this next bullet point. You're going to want to include any necessary citations as you summarize or quote from your sources. And as you remember, you have a total of 4, 2 for your argument and 2 against. And so you'll need to use all 4 of those sources. You should quote from at least 1 of each one for a total of 4 quotes. And at least 2 of those 4 should be direct quotes, which means you should have quotation marks to identify that you've taken those words exactly from the text. Note that every quote, direct or indirect, must include an in-text citation in the proper format to follow it right after. That's not optional. That is required for this and for every other paper you write. As we talked about before, if you do not include an in-text citation, meaning the parentheses right after the quote with that information in there, if you do not include that, that is plagiarism. Your body paragraph should be written in 11 size font. Remember, just keep it boring with that font, Arial or New Times Roman, 1-inch margins, double spaced, and you do not need a heading or a cover page just yet. We will get to that. And you also don't need your reference page just yet. We're going to do that as part of next week's assignments. So what I want you to do is identify 3 topic sentences that are going to support each paragraph. And maybe you already have a start to this from when you did your outline last week. But I want to show you an example that I've done here, which may be helpful to you. So Here's what I've written. I did a brief thesis on immigration and the border wall. So here's what I wrote, and you can identify how I have made clear organizational structure between my thesis and the topic sentences of my body paragraphs. So I wrote, although immigrants should be welcomed and treated with dignity, that part is kind of a nod to the arguments for the topic of open borders. Okay, so you can see under body paragraph 1, I've made it teal just as well so you can see the connection there. The United States is a nation of immigrants. This fact indicates the importance of treating immigrants well, and in light of this, some advocate for open U.S. borders. So then I would go on to share why people advocate for open U.S. borders. So I would provide maybe some statistics, maybe I would provide some information from my sources, but I would have a full paragraph or a full section there on the pro side of open borders. Okay, let's go back to my thesis. I said then, after dignity here, the U.S. federal government must fortify the border wall dividing Texas and Mexico to maintain an orderly process for immigrants. So that's going to be my second section of my paper, which is clearly against this idea of open borders. Others suggest that the U.S. border should not be open, but should have a fortified wall dividing Texas and Mexico. Then I will go on and I will support that statement by talking about why a fortified wall is important. So then I've got to maintain an orderly process for immigrants, which allows them to be both identified, vetted, and better cared for without adding a tax burden on current U.S. citizens. So some of that may actually be a great support in my second section here, which is against open borders. Then I'm going to get to my third section here, the body paragraph, where I will provide a personal analysis and response to this topic, and I will land one way or the other. You'll notice that up until this point, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, if you were just reading these two paragraphs, you wouldn't know yet which side I advocated for. I said very neutrally, some advocate for open U.S. borders. And over here, I said others suggest that the U.S. border should not be open. So it's not clear yet until you get to body paragraph 3 which way the author is going to go. So here I wrote, as a descendant of immigrants myself, I can appreciate the position for open borders, and as a follower of Jesus, the need to love and welcome the sojourner is something God asks of me. Simultaneously, the United States must bring immigrants into its borders in an orderly way. It is necessary, then, that we fortify the border wall to ensure we care more intentionally for the immigrants that are admitted, while also caring for our current citizens simultaneously. What neighbors would we be if we prioritize the stranger at the expense of the neighbor? So this is my personal response, and it's very clear. I'm using the pronoun I. I'm talking about different elements of my life. I'm a follower of Jesus, and I'm also a descendant of immigrants. So these are moments where I am speaking about my personal experience. You want to keep this, you might feel very passionately about your topic. You can provide your opinion and your point of view without being too heated. So you don't want to be angry, you don't want to be upset. Watch your tone here, but you can still support your point of view in light of the arguments that you've made in paragraphs 1 or 2. You can use those to build on as part of your evidence on why you feel like one side makes sense over the other side. You also want to identify if there are any suggestions, or maybe there are ways that we could meet in the middle on this topic. What suggestions do you have in terms of moving forward on this controversial issue? So those would be things to discuss and explore in that body paragraph 3. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how to start on this assignment. So my suggestion to you, obviously this thesis will not be included until we get to the introduction, but adding it here just to help you to make those clear connections between your body paragraphs and those topic sentences can kind of help you see where those connections are. And if you want to highlight it to help you, you can. Obviously, you'll need then to delete the thesis, and you'll need to delete the highlighting, get rid of the highlighting, and format it correctly before you submit it. But while you're drafting, this might be a helpful process for you. So that's something that I like to do. For now, I want you to go ahead and get started in writing your body paragraphs. Go through the assignment. I can also send out this sample if it's helpful to you. And I want you to begin writing right here in class to give yourself a leg up on this assignment. Remember, this assignment is going to be due on the 5th of November, which is Tuesday. And what I'd like you to do, remember there's no class on Monday the 4th, no class at all on Monday the 4th for our class. You may still have your other classes, but on the 4th, no class. And then we will meet again on November 6th. What I'd like you to do is with your completed body paragraph assignment, I need you to print that and bring it to class on the 6th. We are going to do peer reviews, and we're going to switch papers and provide feedback from our classmates. So make sure that you have a printed copy that you can bring to class on November 6th. I will go ahead and leave you to it. So go ahead and get started, and I can't wait to read them.